12, everyone. Radio channel is 12. That is 1, 2, 1, 2.
We'll get started momentarily. Just going to go over a couple things first. Making sure everyone has all the radio channel and everything communicated. So, everyone, for this time, I'm only going to say this once.
You can sit in
I'm
my
only
lap.
going to say this once for everybody. This is proper courtroom etiquette. If you are caught fiddling with the radios, if you are caught walking around or messing with anything, especially the Weazel News people or any of the defendants or prosecution during the case, we have multiple law enforcement agencies, agent workers looking out for everything. If you are messing around, you will be hit with a contempt of court charge. I'm not going to be lenient today. The last case we had, I was a little more lenient than I should have been, and it's not going to happen today. So please, everybody, just sit down, listen in your seats. If you have anything to say, please wait until after the trial is done, after the court case is done, and then we will go ahead and have questioning out front of the courthouse. If you are going to cause an issue, you will be escorted out by law enforcement agencies and officials, and they will go ahead and give you a fine at that time, and it is not going to be a petty cash. It is going to be a lump sum. So please, everyone, stay astute, and please respect the courthouse. Thank you. So, at this time, everyone is seated. At this point, we will go ahead and begin the trial. We will start with the prosecution side. They will go ahead and present their evidence as well as the charges that are faced against the defense.
Are we ready, Your Honor?
Yes, on your cue.
Can someone open the door?
Okay. Good evening, Your Honor, and people of the courtroom. My name is Johnny Bananas. I am here for the prosecution. Today, you are going to be hearing a case against an officer of the law, the Los Santos Police Department. This officer is on trial for many different things. Some of those things are, assault with a deadly weapon, tampering with evidence, and police misconduct. You're going to hear a lot of different things. You're going to see a lot of different things, okay? I want you all to keep an open mind and to watch and listen.
Where the fuck did they get a tampering with evidence charge? What?
Okay? We have some evidence we're going to show you. It'll be displayed on the video, and we're here because if you're an officer, you are supposed to be held to a higher standard. The things that he has done today show that he is no better than a local scumbag criminal. Thank you, Your Honor.
Like the one I was.
Okay, perfect. And at this point in time, you may see, I would allow the defense to come up and present their opening argument in the defense.
You got this, man.
On your cue.
Good evening, Your Honor. Good evening, people of the court. I'm Liam Vellante. I'm going to be representing the defendant today. We're here because he supposedly hit an individual with a baton stick in the jail cells. I would just like to say that my client here has been a member of the police department for a very long time. Has done a lot of good for the community, a lot of good for everybody else, and just all y'all keep that in mind whenever you're going through this evidence, all the good things he's done for the community.
Thank you for your statement. You may be seated. Okay, as of this time, now that both statements have been said, we will allow for the prosecution to begin with their evidence, if you want to go one piece at a time. Once one piece of evidence is then portrayed, we will allow the defense to cross-examine said evidence, and cross-examine their own explanation of said evidence. So, if the prosecution wants to begin, go ahead.
This This
Okay, Your
tampering
Honor.
with evidence charge
I'm
has-
going
I
to
gotta
defer
figure this
to
out
my partner
right away.
over here, the agent in charge, who is also the lawyer for the FIB.
Good evening, Your Honor. We have multiple pieces of evidence that we can present to you on the TV screen here. So we'll start with some of the images, and then we'll move on to any videos. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and put up there for us is going to be, well, actually I have it physically here, so I guess I don't have to put it up. We have the nightstick here. This is Lieutenant Lang's duty weapon, duty nightstick. He carries this on shift with him every shift, and I have in his statement that he was in fact carrying this baton whilst dealing with Mr. Adams. Upon inspection of the baton, there was some blood residue left over on the baton that was swabbed and taken back to FIB. That blood sample was cross-referenced with a sample provided by the suspect at the time, and it is a match to the suspect, meaning that this suspect's blood was on Lieutenant Lang's baton. And I have those samples I'll pull up here.
Your Honor, we'd like to enter that in as Exhibit A.
Motion granted. Yep, I can see it. Okay, yeah, it looks like they do match. Sorry, I'll talk on the radio. Yeah. At this time, I'll go ahead and present the video body cam from Lieutenant Lang in the cells up until the point where the camera is physically turned off by the lieutenant himself. So, stand by.
Nice. That we don't. Yes, it is.
Dude.
He said he has a gun.
I don't have no gun.
In his
Oh,
ass.
he said he had a gun?
In his ass.
Well,
I said I had a gun in my ass. See, this is some weird shit. This is what
He's
I mean.
got a
I'm
gun.
being assaulted. You're telling me I have a gun in my ass. I've been through so much, bro. Y'all
Hey,
are putting me through the most.
You took an officer hostage.
No, I didn't.
So nicely.
Listen, dude, I'm gonna give you this one chance to let me smoke my weed.
Yo, Sheriff and Turner, I think something's going on over there.
Yo, Jacob. Hey,
Yo,
uncuff me.
Turner, I think you need to go with
Yo,
the sheriff.
Turner, come to the fucking cell.
Hold on.
Yep, you're pissing me off. I'm gonna dive into the toilet and flush myself into the sewer system. Fuck you.
systems all work.
So you'll see at this point, Lieutenant Lang ushers the ranking officer on scene, Sheriff Mycock, to leave the cells to observe something. And then you'll see one of the other deputies there, which is, I don't have his name readily available, he's a sergeant. He switches his body camera off here. Yes, I do see that. And then you'll see,
Working. It's gonna have to be rebooting.
at this point, Lieutenant Lang cuts his own body camera off. Now, I want it to be noted that in this video, you can clearly see that Mr. Adams has no visible markings on his face or on his body, which you can tell because he's almost completely nude in the video. It should be noted for the court that upon check-in to Bolingbrook Prison, every
individual and inmate that's in there is, it's well documented, any markings on their body, their physical status, any tattoos, etc. Mr. Adams was booked with visible wounds and bruising to his face, specifically a large gash over his left eye that looked fresh.
Yes, I can confirm, viewing the evidence as you provided, that prior to the situation you're popping up now, he had no visible bruising. And from from what you had said before, from the description, he did have, obviously, from the blood on that you had given me as Exhibit A.
Your Honor, that video we would like to enter in as Exhibit C, and the report of bruising and whatnot as D.
And motion granted.
Part of an interview.
Prep.
Sorry. So the next video I have is part of my interviewing questions with Lieutenant Lang. It should be noted that at this point in time, Lieutenant Lang had just come back on duty, and he had been on duty for about 30 minutes before I interviewed him. Technical difficulties, please hold.
While he is getting the technical difficulties done, from the prosecution, do you have a copy of the arrest report filed away?
I didn't file it yet until the outcome of the trial.
Okay. No, from from the victim.
10-4. I have an interview with the victim. All filed in my case.
Affirmative.
And officer, since you're right next to Weazel, just make sure that there's no audio interference, and if there is, make sure they get warned. After the first warning, we're gonna escort them out, okay?
Alright, sounds good.
Alright.
Okay, it's gonna start playing here in a second.
Okay, so
Perfect.
You dismiss the sheriff even though you claim that he's the one investigating, and you're claiming now it's not
He
your
needed
case.
help with fingerprints, you know. He doesn't have that stuff up there.
Okay, interesting. You do.
He needed help with it.
Alright. Now,
Sierra 1.
I'm just gonna throw a question out here.
I'm in an interceptor though. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to pursue whatever's there.
Being sent to what?
Like, has I beat it? I don't know. I arrest a lot of people, man.
Lieutenant,
What's up?
did you physically assault a restrained suspect in the MRPD cell? Baton?
Maybe. I don't know. I arrest a lot of people, man.
Lieutenant,
What's up?
did you physically assault a restrained suspect in the MRPD cell? And I'm going to preface this by 2 points.
In an active 10A black
One,
sedan.
it is a felony
Be taking a left
and a federal
onto
offense
Dorset Drive,
to
continuing
lie to a
eastbound.
federal investigative
Eastbound Dorset.
officer. Fucking radio, Jesus
Occupied
Christ.
4
hold on.
times.
It is against the law to lie to a federal agent. Are you aware of that?
All right. What do you want me like? What do you want from this?
I want to know if you physically assaulted that suspect, Toby Adams, in the cells after you turned your body cam on. And is this his blood on your nightstick?
Come on, man. You're my old boss. Don't grab me out like this.
Lang, answer the fucking question.
You get out of here.
Excuse me, sir?
Get out of here. Get out of here. Please. This is confidential.
This
everything
is
all right in here?
the director of the FIB, so it's okay.
God damn it.
Lang,
Come on, man. Help me out.
answer
here.
answer my question.
Are you drinking again, Lang?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty inebriated, but I had to come in.
Answer the question, Lang.
He was screaming assault.
Did you assault him with your nightstick?
He was screaming assault, and I got mad because our officers tried to help him, man. And he's screaming down there that we're assaulting him. So yeah, maybe I went up and I was like, hit him with the nightstick. He ain't fucking dead, man. Prove him a point. Come on, man, you gotta see it.
Lieutenant,
Help me out here, man. Come on.
face away from me and put your hands in the air, please.
Come on, man. Just give me a suspension. You don't have to arrest me.
Okay, so sorry it took so long, but you can see in the video, Lieutenant Lang admits that he went in there and struck the suspect with his nightstick. It should also be noted that, as I stated prior, Lieutenant Lang himself was on duty and even responded to a bank robbery. And in this, you can see he is actually inebriated, which means he was drunk on duty.
Your Honor, that video would be Exhibit E.
Yep, I had that written down. Confirmed.
At this time, Your Honor, the prosecution has no more evidence to submit.
Okay, I appreciate that and thank you for your time. You may sit down, be seated.
Your Honor, if I may just present the charges we're requesting. I don't think we covered them.
Let's let the defense have a chance to cross-examine any of the evidence if they so do choose. And once they're done with that, then you may present the actual charges being brought against the defendant.
Okay.
So at this time, we'll have the prosecution seated. The defense, if you want to go ahead, if any of the pieces of evidence you would like to cross-examine or want further explanation from, please feel free to speak up now.
No, thank you, man.
Okay, no worries. So at that time, it seems like the defense wants to excuse themselves from cross-examining. The prosecution, if you would like to go ahead and display the charges that are being brought against the defendant, that would be great.
Okay, so we're going to be pursuing assault with a deadly weapon, as well as, and that is obviously for Lieutenant Lang assaulting the suspect with his nightstick. We are also pursuing tampering with evidence on the grounds that Lieutenant Lang shut his body camera off, as well as other officers that were on scene in order to withhold knowledge of this incident.
Okay, those are the only two charges?
Yes. We also are going to pursue a charge of police misconduct, which the time and fine would be at your discretion for such an offense.
Okay, gotcha.
And at this time, it should be noted that the FIB is not making any recommendations to the LSPD on Lieutenant Lang's employment. We leave that discretion solely up to the chief.
Okay, give me 1 second, then we'll continue along. Just jotting down some notes here. Okay, so if that's with all the charges that they're being brought against, I will allow for closing statements from both parties. We'll start with prosecution and move to the defense. If prosecution, if you want to give your closing statement, feel free at your leisure.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like the opportunity to have the suspect from the incident testify.
The court will allow it as long as he is okay with it. Obviously, we cannot force him to testify against himself. So if he would be willing to, that is completely up to the defense.
Can we object that? I already got it.
No.
He is willing to, Your Honor. Sorry, we're speaking of the person who was assaulted.
Oh, the victim and the circumstance. Oh, of course. If he's here, yeah, feel free to bring him up as a witness. We can get him sworn in.
Okay, I'll go grab him right now.
He's not going on the stand. I'm not letting him up on the stand.
Oh, lawyer, dude. Oh, lawyer.
Maybe I'll call myself to the stand, who knows?
Should pay extra for a better lawyer next time.
Dude, I didn't even get to pay for it. They just like, here's
Oh, it's free.
Okay, if you can raise your right hand for me, please. Thank you. And just repeat after me, or just answer the question here. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this arbitration is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. The next thing to say I do, but fine, this is fine. Okay, I'll go ahead and be seated. And if the prosecution wants to approach the stand, you may begin questioning.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, for the record, would you mind stating your name?
Toby Adams.
Well, thank you, Mr. Adams. And can you just give me a rundown of what happened on March 1st?
Well, I was pretty down on some money, so I made a bad decision, decided to try to go rob the iFruit store. And of course police showed up, so I was pursued, and then I was caught. And they took me into the cells, and once I was in the cells, I was asking officers to let me eat food and smoke some weed, because I was stressed out, because, you know, it's a whole crime, it's pretty stressful. And after about the third or fourth time, I asked to eat some food and smoke, Lieutenant Lang opened my cell door and struck me with his baton as I was still in cuffs.
Okay, and I'm sorry that happened to you. Do you recall how many times he struck you?
What are you doing, bro?
No,
it was actually, I swear to God, sorry.
I think it was.
Silence your cell phone.
I'm sorry. Sorry, sir. Go on.
I think it was 3 to 8 times. The exact number.
Sorry.
Yeah. And where did he hit you?
If you have a phone call, please step out.
Mostly in my face, my forehead, under my eye. He hit me once in the jaw, so while my mouth was open. I think he hit me a few times in the chest.
Yeah. So he struck you. About how hard would you say?
Probably full force.
So a good wind up.
Yeah.
Good wind up. Okay. Did you ever attempt to assault the officer inside the cell?
No, sir. I was just asking to eat some food, and I was in cuffs.
And those handcuffs, your hands were behind your back, correct?
Yes, sir.
Were there any other officers that got involved in the incident that physically assaulted you? Okay. And after it all happened, after he assaulted you, what did he just leave you there? What happened?
He left the cell, and that's when lawyers arrived, and he moved me to the, or I don't know, I don't remember, I don't recall, because I was hit in the head and I was kind of dazed, but someone moved me to the interrogation room at that point.
Yeah, so you were, would you say you were almost in and out of consciousness?
Yeah.
Okay, and how do you feel now?
I'm taking a lot of pain meds for the pain. I'm walking very stiff for some reason, and it's just, I have a lot of jaw pain and, my head hurts.
Okay. No more questions, Your Honor.
Okay, I appreciate it. Sir, if you want to remain seated, prosecution, if you could remain seated. And then the defense, if you would like to come up and cross-examine the witness, this would be the time.
I believe in you.
Yes, sure. Yeah.
Alright, sir, so, leading up to this incident, you said you were, robbing an iFruit store, correct? Correct. Okay. Do you, have any officers in, hostage at any point in this incident?
Objection. Relevant. Not sure how that's relevant to him being physically assaulted in the cells.
Sustained. Yeah, there is no relevance unless you can, unless it actually goes toward your client and the reasoning of exactly what happened in the events. Yes, I'm going to sustain that objection.
It does, Your Honor. So, the reason I asked this question, if I may explain, Your Honor.
May we approach?
Yes, you may approach the bench.
Yeah, just so it's not like a part of record.
Lang, next time get Bainbridge. He's pretty good.
Bro, I literally just got brought here. Like, they were like, "You're arrested. You're going to court." I didn't have time to do anything.
Bro, you should ask for a, you know. Bro, you should just ask for this trial to be postponed till you can get an appropriate lawyer.
Fuck, I might have to. Let's see what. Yeah, it's his first case.
It's clear.
So, ladies and gentlemen of the courtroom, the prosecution has withdrawn their objection, and the questioning will continue.
Did you have any officer held hostage at any point in this incident?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know which officer that was?
No, sir.
That would have been Lieutenant Lang's cadet in training. And the reason I bring this up is it caused my client to be emotionally overwhelmed, which is could be a very possible reasoning for the aggression in these cells, so claimed by the prosecutioners.
Okay, and that will be noted on the record. Do you have any other further questions for the witness?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you may be seated, and the witness may be excused. Thank you for your testimony.
Your Honor, before you excuse him, may I ask one more question?
Sure, the prosecution may approach the bench. Do note that if you do reapproach, the defense will get the chance to cross-examine once again.
Okay. Mr. Adams, when you had this officer inside the iFruit store with you, did you assault him?
No, sir.
Did you never laid any kind of assaultive manner on him? You didn't punch him, nothing like that?
No, sir. I just
Held a gun to him.
took him.
Okay. So did you ever think about assaulting him or injuring him in any way?
No, it was the helicopter was there. That's the reason I did it. I just wanted to get out.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. No more questions.
Okay. And then the defense, if you want to cross-examine us again, you have the feel free.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, perfect. Okay, at this time, there's no other questioning for the witness, so the witness now may be excused. Thank you for your testimony. Okay, so if neither side, the prosecution, do you have any other witnesses to bring to the stand?
No, we are ready for closing statements on our side.
Okay. And defense, do you have any other witnesses or any other evidence to provide?
One moment, Your Honor, please. I just need to confer with my counsel.
Sure, of course. While they're confirming, the defense, if you could think of your answer to the question, would be great.
Okay, I'll go first, and you can go after me. Your Honor, actually, the prosecution would like to call Lieutenant Lane at the stand.
Okay, and as I said, now this situation now preside with him. If he feels that he would like to testify, he can give testimony. If not, then he does not have to testify against himself.
You don't think I should plead my case?
Lieutenant Lang, would you like to come up as a witness?
You know what, man?
No.
Yeah, if you don't want to, if you want to, leave it up to you.
Lieutenant Lang?
Sorry, I'm discussing with my lawyer.
Oh, no worries.
Yes or no? I need your advice. Hello?
You can't, if...
I can't.
You can't lie under...
No,
Victoria,
I'm
you
not
know that,
planning
right?
to lie. Do you want me up there or not?
No.
I'd rather not be up at the stand.
This is your chance to plead your case. I'm giving you the floor.
Should have had an FIB beater lawyer.
Man, why are you listening to this guy? It's his first case. I guess I will take the stand.
Of course. You may be seated. Actually, don't sit just yet. Go ahead and raise your right hand for me. Okay, I'll ask you a question. Please either affirm or not affirm. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this arbitration is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear it is all the truth.
Okay, perfect. You may be seated. And the prosecution, you may approach the bench for begin questioning.
Thank you, Your Honor. Lieutenant Lang, how you feeling?
I'm alright. What do you have?
Lieutenant Lang, can you please, for the court's records, tell us where you work?
I work at the Los Santos Police Department.
And what is your current rank?
I'm a Lieutenant 1, sir.
And how long have you worked at the Los Santos Police Department?
I've been here since about August.
Do you hold any specialty positions within the department?
Yes, I'm part of various subdivisions.
Can you please, for the court's records, explain what other positions you hold?
I'm a gang task force and SWAT.
As a lieutenant, are you considered a field training officer as well?
Yes, sir, but I wouldn't consider that a subdivision. That's why I didn't mention it.
Lieutenant, do you remember why you chose to become a police officer in Los Santos? Did you start here or did you move here?
Yeah, I moved here and I wanted Los Santos to be a better, safer place.
Lieutenant Lang, in your opinion, what type of mind state should an officer have while on duty?
Professionalism, on the most part. You know, that's number one of our job. Be professional.
Being that you're a lieutenant, when you have a lot of time in service compared to other officers, would you say it's important to be able to make decisions under stressful environments as a police officer?
Oh, definitely. That's mostly all of our job. Stressful situations.
And as an experienced police officer, would you say that you handle yourself well under stress, and that stress doesn't affect you typically?
No, I do get stressed out a lot, and I don't know how to handle it most of the time.
So this incident that happened in the cells after you turned your body cam off, do you remember what happened next?
No. You had it right there in the video.
Okay, so in your confession to me, you explained that you struck the suspect with the nightstick. Do you remember how many times you struck him?
Negative. I don't remember.
Is there a specific reason you can't remember?
Probably because I was enraged.
Do you think being able to control your emotions is a value that a police officer should have?
Most definitely.
And in this situation, you show that you do not have that ability, yet you hold a position of authority within one of the largest police departments in the nation?
Stress happens to anybody. I guess it's not time for me to make an argument, but you wouldn't understand it. You haven't been with a new guy, you know? Not for a long time.
Alright. I'll see if my partner, do you have any further questions?
Yeah, I got a few. So, Lieutenant Lang, you said you've been, you've risen through the ranks, right? How hard is it to get to lieutenant?
It was very difficult. It took months and months to get here.
Right. And you know, like you said, it's a stressful job. In the video of your confession, you stated that you were in fact inebriated. However, you were also on shift. How often does that happen?
That rarely ever happens.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
It was stated in the video that he was drunk. I'm just trying to show the court the type of person Officer Lang is.
Overall, the objection, he is going off of the evidence that was presented to the courtroom, so I will allow the questioning.
Yeah, I was told I had to come into work, even though I was inebriated.
Wow. Okay. Do you recall striking the individual with a nightstick? No, I'm not asking how many times, I'm just asking if you recall the event.
Yes, I recall being in there with him.
And striking him.
And striking him.
Okay. And the nightstick that my co-counsel presented as Exhibit A, that was your nightstick, correct?
Why, this has always been evidence.
I'm sorry?
The video answered for you.
I'm asking about Exhibit A, the nightstick that was presented in evidence.
Yeah, that's what he took.
Okay. And you said that you wanted, you know, you're here to make Los Santos a better and safer place, correct?
Yeah.
And that professionalism is one of the bigger things that you strive for, right? Can you tell the court why you turned your body cam off?
I turned my body cam off to hit somebody with a nightstick. He took my cadet hostage and threatened his life, and I couldn't control my feelings. And I refused to be ashamed of that.
Okay. No more questions, Your Honor.
Okay, no worries. Thank you for the questioning and thank you for the testimony. The defense at this point, would you like to cross-examine the defendant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you may approach the bench and begin your questioning. Yes.
Alright, Lieutenant Lang. First question is, have you ever had allegations of this since, prior to this event?
Objection.
Never.
Not sure the relevance of his prior allegations are to this specific event.
Character.
I will overrule that objection only because your questioning was in regards to his character, and his questioning is in regards to his character as well as a law enforcement officer. So I will allow the question.
So, Officer, or Lieutenant Lang, have you ever had allegations of this since prior to this event?
That's negative.
Okay, and how are you feeling in the moment of the incident?
As I was saying, I was enraged.
What are you feeling moments leading up to the incident?
Confused, again, just angered, you know.
Lieutenant Lang, what pushed you over the edge to make this incident occur?
We've had so many of our new people just get snatched up, guns pointed to them all the time. I couldn't take it anymore, you know, I felt for them. I had to do what I thought might make somebody at least learn.
And Lieutenant Lang, did you feel any remorse after the incident?
I was still angry. It's kind of blurry, you know, I don't really remember how I felt afterwards. Bittersweet, I guess would be what we would call it.
Okay, Lieutenant Lang, and if you were put in the same circumstance again, would this happen? Would you let this incident happen? Would you let your anger take over you?
I can't promise that it would be the same, but I can't say it'd be different either.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, if we may, I have further questions.
Okay. The defense may seat and the prosecution may approach, and then you'll get the chance to cross-examine once they are done with their questions.
Lieutenant Lang, your attorney asked you if you'd ever had allegations against you of misconduct, and you answered that you had not, correct?
Negative. He asked me if I had any allegations of this sort. He did not say misconduct.
Defense, you want to clarify? Can you confirm your question?
Oh yeah, I did ask him if he had any allegations of this since prior to this incident.
Okay. I wanted to be, I'll just continue on this for a minute. Lieutenant Lang, what does the term soft pits mean to you?
Objection, what the fuck?
Objection.
I refuse to answer.
Objection, Your Honor.
Objection on what grounds?
Doesn't pertain.
Your Honor, my question is simply to show a pattern of misconduct with Lieutenant Lang over his career.
Do the incidents that you're currently asking about have anything that directly is involved with this exact scenario that is going on that he's currently being held for?
They will show that Lieutenant Lang, in fact, is known to not follow SOPs and known to break the rules.
Do you have any actual validified evidence or any reports of this actually documented that, you know, of this misconduct that you're trying to communicate across?
There have been complaints filed, yes.
Do you have them written complaints? Do you have them here potentially?
You're gonna have to give me a minute.
So at this point in time, while he goes through this, because it may take a little bit to get the reports, if we want to go ahead, I know we've been here for a little bit of time. Ladies and gentlemen of the courtroom, defendant, if you want to stay on the stand. Everyone else, if you want to take about a 5-minute recess just for the prosecution to get those records all together.
Yeah, looks like we have the situation secured. We're just going to pull security in the front.
You got an extra burger or something?
Yeah, I got something.
Okay, at this time we will begin, so if you're still in the courthouse or if you're still on this frequency or not in the courtroom, we will begin the rest of the testimony. So if you are coming in late, please be seated very quietly. Thank you.
Alright.
So we left off with the prosecution. Currently, they had a couple additional pieces of evidence to bring in contingent to their questioning of the witness, which the court will allow at this moment in time, only because it is in conjunction with the testimony of said witness. So, the prosecution, it is in your court.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. I'm just getting the video up here. So, just to show a little pattern of Lieutenant Ling's history. This is a video we received after a complaint was filed against Lieutenant Ling for... I'm sorry? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. This video was submitted to the LSPD as an official complaint against Lieutenant Lang for an unsafe pit maneuver. You'll see in the video where Lieutenant Lang pit maneuvers his vehicle off of about a 60-foot cliff into water. So as you can see in the video, Lieutenant Lang clearly outside of the SOPs, completely forgetting the rules, and performs a pit maneuver, endangering the lives of 4 people who are innocent until proven guilty, I will add.
Can you send that to my email can you just DM that to my email very quickly, the video link? Possible. Thank you, it's received.
I would also like to read here another official complaint received against Lang about his conduct as an officer. This is by somebody who was kidnapped. They said, after the hostage situation, I requested a ride back to Pillbox. The cop giving me a ride, I was told his name was Jacob Lang. He started accusing me of working with the robbers and was being very disrespectful to me and wouldn't let me speak to say my side of the story. I was told by another officer that he is just heated about a different thing, but regardless, he shouldn't be taking his anger out on me when I've done nothing wrong. Just made me really mad that he started accusing me and being disrespectful out of nowhere. So another example of Lieutenant Lang himself not being able to keep a calm head as a police officer.
Damn, no proof.
Okay. And do you have the documentation for that complaint that you can send me?
Yes.
And then I did have a question regarding the video evidence you had just sent for the pit maneuver that was done. Is there any way to confirm within that actual, video clip that was actually Officer Lang who had done that pit, who had committed that pit onto the vehicle?
Stand by 1 second.
Your Honor, while he is checking, I would like to make sure you're aware that the video would be Exhibit F and the testimony or the complaint would be the next one.
Perfect. G.
Yeah. Alphabet's hard.
Your Honor, the complaint is hearsay.
That is correct, but...
Objection? Because, it's an official document, and if it were to be lied upon, it would be filing a fake report.
Correct. And in this circumstance, it is not them actively trying to hit him with any crimes or commit him with any charges. From that, it was just a character reference in regards to a complaint that they had received through the LSPD, so I will allow that. However, if there's no way to confirm or get a positive identification of Officer Lang from the pit maneuver that was just shown, I will throw that piece of evidence out of the court if they cannot confirm. Looking at the video that he had sent me to my email, there's no way that I can see at this point in moment in time to positively identify the officer who actually committed the pit.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
So you're saying at that point you cannot confirm who the officer was who actually committed the pit?
Not within a decent time span.
Okay. So at this moment in time, I will go ahead and throw the video evidence of the pit out, only because there is no way at this moment in time to possibly identify Officer Lang as the officer that was driving the car and who had committed the pit. So I will throw that, but the written testimony that was submitted to the LSPD as a complaint will be submitted on behalf of the officers and the defendant in this circumstance, his behavior and his character. So at this point in time, being that the prosecution has no other evidence, the defense, you have the chance to cross-examine and bring any other evidence to the witness as you need.
Your Honor, maybe get one more moment to check on something.
Sure. While they are checking that defense, do you have any other questions for the witness?
Okay, may I please have a second, Your Honor?
Sure.
Alright, I'm ready, Your Honor.
Okay. Just give us 1 second for the prosecution. I think they were requesting a moment as well.
Finding evidence is...
Never mind, Your Honor. We figured it out, and it's not going to be admissible.
Okay, of course. Okay. So with the prosecution dismissing, go ahead and the defense, you may ask your questions to the witness. You may proceed with your questioning.
Alright, so Lieutenant Lang, how long have you worked for the Los Angeles Police Department?
Since August.
Would you say you're quite dedicated to the Los Angeles Police Department in this city?
Much so.
That's fucking tough as fuck, bro. How am I, bro? Oh my god.
No, he's having voice box issues.
Your Honor, I don't know if he's asking any questions, but we can't hear him over here.
Correct. He's having some issues. He just told me.
Oh,
he's
okay.
yeah, he's
Disregard.
technical difficulties.
I have no further questions at this time, Honor, but would it be acceptable to have a character witness to the stand?
Once we dismiss this witness, we will allow for additional witnesses. So, if you have no other questions for this, for the defendant here, we can dismiss him as a witness, and we can bring up your other witness.
Okay, Your Honor.
We're all set.
I have no further questions.
Your Honor, it's my opinion that unless this character witness has any type of relevance in a close relationship with Lang that can truly speak to him, speak to who he is, I don't know how that's relevant.
For the defense, what is the reasoning for bringing the witness? What is the witness credibility? Also, the defendant may return to his seat. But what is the credibility for the character witness that you would like to call?
Yeah, Your Honor, I was, he's known Lang for a very long time and can give us a little bit more, help us get to know Lieutenant Lang here a little bit better.
So other than just for, personal reference, are there any actual events that he can bring to the courthouse or anything like that that can actually, assist with the defendant? Because asking for the witness to come up just to say how well and great that the defendant is great, but unless they have any actual proof or any evidence or any, situations or incidents that they can bring up to the table that can, help boost either, the defendant's character or, refute any of the evidence that has been, presided today, then the witness at this point in time, it would be purely on hearsay and it wouldn't be admissible. Unless they have an actual incident or something along the lines that would be directly located to the case.
He does have an incident.
Your Honor, I'd like to object of him bringing anyone up. We're not here regarding whether or not Lieutenant Lang is a good guy. We're here for simply the fact that he beat a man in a cell who was cuffed and unable to defend himself. We have a statement that he did it. We have his admission while on the stand that yes, he beat this man. He could be a great guy, but we're here for a very specific reason. The assault on my client.
And I understand that from your perspective and the prosecution's perspective, but also let me ask you a question. For the purposes of the evidence that was given in the exact, let me see. So within the questioning that you had given when the defendant was on the stand, you had inquired to how an officer should hold himself and what character should an officer have while enlisted on the job. So in this circumstance, if they have a reference that in regards to him as an officer in the line of duty, something that would go to his credibility, at that point I believe that that would be something that could potentially be brought, but as long as there has to be actual validified evidence behind it, not just a hearsay statement from someone saying, oh yes, he's a great guy, blah, blah, blah. I agree with you. But if there is something that they can bring to the actual board for him in regards to a situation that happened while he was on the, on the staff of the LSPD, as you had said before, in your argument that you had said his character was flawed to a point, if I'm not correct. Is that something that I would say that, assuming would be correct from your perspective?
With that, Your Honor, with all due respect, if you're referring to one of my statements, I brought up his professionalism, and I simply brought that up due to him introducing it into his testimony. I wasn't attacking his character nor his professionalism. I was just reiterating what he had said. Okay. If I'm on the same page.
Okay. So at this moment in time, because there's a cloud of uncertainty, and it doesn't sound like there is any video evidence or any written, and even a reported evidence or anything regarding to the witness's credibility, I will have to go ahead and sustain that objection for the witness, unless you have any actual, video proof, photo proof, biometric data, anything like that, that would actually, assist in this case as evidence, as hardcore evidence. Does the witness be able to project any of that type of evidence, or is it all just hearsay, just their statement, like an oral statement? That is for the defense.
I don't think he does, Your Honor.
Okay, so at that point in time, I know we've driven the case a little longer than what we probably expected to, and being that there's no hard evidence that is actually being introduced with the witness, we will go ahead and sustain the objection from the prosecution. Do you have any other evidence or any other witnesses that could bring in actual evidence, pieces of evidence that could be used inside the court of law?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so you may go ahead and be seated, and we will go ahead and proceed with closing statements. At this time, I will call for the prosecution to approach the stand and give your closing statement, closing argument.
What it's all about. Closing statements.
Thank you, Your Honor. Again, we're not here to determine if Lieutenant Lang is a good person or a bad person. We're here simply to determine the facts. And the facts have been admitted to by Lieutenant Lang here on stand for everyone to hear. The fact is, Lieutenant Lang, in the heat of the moment, with all his training and all his years of experience, was unable to control his emotions. A trait that he himself admits to having. He admits that he cannot control himself when his emotions take charge, and yet this is a lieutenant on the Los Santos Police Department. Your Honor, and people of the courtroom, he has admitted to striking the suspect multiple times while he was handcuffed. What more needs to be said? He assaulted a suspect in custody, a defenseless man with his arms bound behind his back. No way to defend himself.
Hey, you got this, man.
At this time, Your Honor, so with police misconduct, the assault with a deadly weapon, and the tampering with evidence, the prosecution is going to request a sentence of 40 months and a total of $50,000 to be paid in fines. The victim in this case, however, this is a criminal case, however, the victim should be entitled to damages. I mean, we saw him hardly able to walk right, mouth hanging open, visibly scarred from this incident. And so we're going to seek $500,000 in damages to be paid by the LSPD at your discretion, obviously. So in total, again, it would be a $50,000 fine for Lieutenant Lang, along with 40 months in jail.
Okay, and do you have any other arguments or any other discussion to give before we go to the defense, give them their chance?
No, Your Honor, prosecution rest.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and let the prosecution be seated. The defense, if you want to go ahead and give your closing statement or argument, you may approach the bench. So you may go ahead and give your argument.
Alright, so my client, Lieutenant Lang, at the end of the day, is a human. There is no man or woman in this courtroom that has not lost control under duress at least once. So I just ask the courtroom to take into account that Lieutenant Lang has been serving this city since August, longer than almost every officer on the force, including the chief himself. My client has seen the worst the city has to offer and has maintained a professional and respectable persona for this amount of time, which in my opinion is very impressive and I think should be taken into account by the court.
Okay, perfect. Do you have any other statements you'd like to give?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, perfect. Okay, you may go ahead and be seated. So at this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the quarters pretty quickly, just do a little bit of discussion, and just kind of go over some of the facts and some of the information. I will work on the judgment. It should take no longer than a minute or two. I will come back out and give the judgment for this case. If you guys want to remain seated, I know you guys have been sitting for a while, but just remain seated. Give us a couple minutes to discuss, and we'll be back.
I have a question for you, Your Honor.
Sure, go ahead.
In private.
Approach.
can't go to jail.
Thank you, everyone. I'll be right back. Is Ms. Payton currently on here? If you can meet me over here very quickly.
I'll remember it.
Hey, that'd be a pair right there.
Twenty vision.
The fuck? Sing the whole song, Florence.
Can I get a kiss? And can you make it last forever? They said I'm about to go to war.
Sorry, calm down.
I don't know if I'ma see you again.
Go back to my seat.
Can I get a kiss? Can I? And can you make it last forever? Can you? I said I'm about to go to war. Out too. I don't know if I can see you again. I said, okay, that dude's. I'll take you to the candy shop. I'll let you lick the lollipop.
I'll
Go
find the
ahead,
rest
girl.
If you don't stop.
Hey,
Bro, I thought we was like on recess or something. I'm just chilling.
we need some like.
It's not like kindergarten recess.
Nah, I don't mean, bro. Yo, you're disrespectful, bro.
Wow, dude.
Damn.
The man's bearing his soul.
Emotional damage.
I'ma sue you for defamation.
Do it.
Deformation?
That's
Yeah.
Deformation.
I'm country,
Please
bro.
sue me for defamation.
I will. I'm gonna get my bag. Get my bag right. Yo, I'm broke for real. All right, when's the court finna come back in session? Then I'll be quiet. Hey, look at corruption, bro. Look how he's standing. He looks stiff as hell. Hey, you mad as hell, ain't you?
Buddy, if you want to speak, you're supposed to leave the fucking courthouse area.
Oh, I didn't know that. Damn, my bad. Hey, can you come outside in corruption? You look mad as hell. I ain't gonna lie. Come on. Come on, come outside.
Go out there while I'm pissed off so you can talk shit to me.
I'm just asking a question. Oh, never mind. It's back in session. Never mind.
Really need to get the bailiff. That would be the. Anyways, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen of the courtroom, so we have deliberated a little bit between the judges inside the city. We've come to a conclusion for these. Mr. Lang with the defense, can you please stand? So, at this moment in time, regarding all the evidence that was presented, as well as the couple written statements and the confession that was recorded, of course, on that. At this point in time, for the three charges, you will be found guilty of the assault with a deadly weapon, charge 1, tampering with evidence, charge 2, and the police misconduct of a charge 3. You will be found guilty on all three counts. At this moment in time, with the assault of the deadly weapon and tampering with evidence, you will get the normal time and fine. And for the police misconduct, we are ruling in the judgment of $34,000 and 8 months. That would be a total of 25 months in jail with a judgment fine of $50,000. Total for all three offenses. in regards to the case itself, obviously the city does hold its officers at a higher calling than most citizens. Obviously, you take an oath when you come into there, and of course, you are there to protect the freedom and, of course, the justified of the city. You are there to enforce the city laws and rules, not to break them. And obviously, in this situation, with the bloody police baton, as well as the confession and the cell recording that was given, obviously there was a lack of your duty to serve your community, whether or not they were fugitives of the law or suspects of the law. And even if they had breaking laws themselves, they still are citizens of this city and will be accustomed as one. So, in these situations, we understand that the circumstances around it, with your cadet being taken hostage, but you are held to a certain policy as a police officer, and hopefully, in the future, if your employment does stay with the LSPD, which we will leave in the hands of the chief. At this moment in time, the court will not put a ruling into your employment, but hopefully if you are put on either probation or you are kept within the department, hopefully you learn from this, and hopefully you are able to come back into the department with a clean head and able to keep a calm and clean demeanor. So at this time, that will be the judgment. We will allow the officers at this moment in time, or the prosecution, if need be, to go ahead and detain the defendant, get him down to the cells, and you are able to send him off to jail at this moment in time.
Your Honor, if I may.
Go ahead.
In order to ensure that if Lieutenant Lang continues his employment, that he is monitored, we request that he wear an ankle monitor for 2 weeks. That way the FIB specifically can monitor him for further issues.
At this moment in time, being that we are not going to make any decision on his employment with the LSPD, I will leave that decision with the chief of the LSPD, being that is his direct supervisor.
I will say, I'm sorry. I will say, Your Honor, if we are to keep him, he will not. There's no way in God's name that he stays a lieutenant, but if we are to deem that we keep him on the force, I am fully on board with the FIB's idea to monitor him via digital tracking device.
And as long as both parties are agreeable in that circumstance, then yes, the court will at this point advise to put an ankle bracelet on to the defendant. We will give him the normal statute of limitations for that, which would be 2 weeks. And during that 2 weeks, we look at this as your probationary, Mr. Lang, either with the PD or without of the PD. You will be obviously monitored by the FIB and will be taken care of in the manner that is seen necessary. So, but yes, as long as both parties agree, that will be the court's decision.
And if we are all done here, there will be a press conference out front. Civilians will be allowed to ask myself and the FIB agent to my left questions regarding the case.
I will also join in that.
Your Honor?
Go ahead.
Did we get a ruling on any kind of damages to be paid out to the
Yes,
client?
thank you for reminding me. So during the judgment, within the talking between the judges of the city, we have come to the consensus that if the victim of this certain circumstance, which I do believe is one Toby Adams, if he wants to file any proceedings or any charges against the officer or defendant in this matter, he can do so. However, it will be a different circumstance, only because A, this is taking a little bit longer than I think we all expected it to, and B, because it will give the PD a chance in all actuality, because it will be obviously the victim against the LSPD, not just the officer in that circumstance. So it will give them a chance to gather evidence, gather their side of the story, and give them a chance to collect their bearings, per se. So if he would like to, we are still allowing that to be. We will give him the 2 weeks normal of statute of limitations to put the lawsuit against the LSPD and Mr. Lang, but we will not be presiding on that as of this today.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Of course. And if that is it, the court is adjourned, and you all may be free from your...
Lieutenant Lang, you know, he took matters into his own hands. He let his stress get the best of him and in turn beat a defenseless man in the cells, in his custody. And for that, justice had to be served. We're pleased with the outcome today. The FIB will continue to work with the LSPD and the Sheriff's Department to investigate corruption and police misconduct. If anyone has any questions, I'll take one or two.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
And it
At this time, has any decision been made whether to keep him on the
Hold on. Dimitri, we're in the middle of
Your
the
Honor,
conference. Alright, can you repeat your question?
Has any decision been made or is any decision pending about keeping him on the force?
I'll let the chief answer that question.
Seeing as how it has been 3 minutes after his conviction, no, there has been no decision made yet. Yes, there is a pending investigation on how we are going to.
And I do have a follow-up. If you do decide to keep him on the force, do you expect any backlash from the community and citizens?
Well, in this line of work, as high up as we are, every decision is a damned if you do, damned if you don't. There's backlash for both sides. It's just about calculating what the damages will be on either side. Ignore the second voice in my brain. Okay, she's just loud. But like I was saying, there's a fine line between what makes people mad and what pleases people. Either side, either way, someone's going to get mad. Someone's going to have distaste in their mouth from a decision. So we're just going to weigh the pros and cons. I will give you a little bit of an insider thing. We may end up firing him and we'll have to take a transfer, or we decide that a transfer would not be better and we would like to try to rehabilitate his conduct in the future, which is possible and has been done. A few of our officers actually were convicts before joining city council and making leaps and bounds and helping people greatly and having records expunged by judges. So,
I mean,
it's
the
possible.
chief himself was a prior warlord from Serbia, so anyone can be reformed.
Yeah, not exactly, but but it just goes to show that rehabilitation is possible.